Hello, and welcome to Women Finding Clarity. I'm your host, Pascal Cook Fernandez. Today, we're diving into something that so many of us wrestle with at different points in our life, and that is finding new purpose. Maybe you've reached a crossroads. A chapter in your life has ended, and now you're left wondering, what's next? Maybe your kids are grown, your career no longer fulfills you, or you feel a pull towards something greater, but you're just not sure what that is yet. Here's the thing. Purpose isn't just one big singular thing that we find once and stick with forever. It evolves just like we do. And that's a beautiful thing. But when you're in the in between, the space where the old no longer fits and the new hasn't fully revealed itself, it can feel confusing and maybe even a little bit scary. So let me ask you, what if this moment of uncertainty isn't a loss, but an invitation? An invitation to redefine what purpose means to you, not based on who you've been, but who you're becoming. Today, we're going to explore what it really means to find new purpose, how to tune into the whispers of your soul, recognize the signs that change is calling, and take aligned steps forward even when the path isn't fully clear. So, if you're feeling stuck, restless, or just ready for something more, this episode is for you. My guest this evening knows all too well about finding new purpose in what she's deemed her third act. Dr. Michelle Prince, founder of Prince Consulting LLC, is a global leadership coach, HR tech advisor, and human capital consultant. A certified leadership coach since 2006 with a doctorate in management and organizational leadership, Michelle helps professionals and organizations achieve transformational growth. Michelle has over 30 years of corporate HR experience, and she has been serving on advisory boards since 2016. An advocate for sustainability and empowering people to thrive, she recently wrote a book to inspire people to find purposeful work in their third act that provides both income and fulfillment. Creating Your Encore Career is available now on Amazon. So without further ado, please help me welcome Dr. Michelle Prince. Michelle, welcome to Women Finding Clarity.
Well, thank you. It's great to be here.
I am excited to have you here because I feel like most of the things we talk about are in the here and the now. And so, what you and I are going to talk about mostly is, you know, moving forward in our future. And so I would love to talk about, let's jump right into women who are looking to start an encore career. What's their future going to look like? So let's start with this. What's your PhD in life? How did you get from where you were to where you are today, helping women start an encore career?
Yeah. Well, my PhD is actually in organizational leadership. And for 30 years, I was doing organizational transformation efforts. Part of the role in talent management was career coaching, building great leaders and helping leaders be effective in their own careers and helping others in their careers. So when I decided to create my own encore career and carve out what I love to do most, it's actually that. It's my passion has always been helping professionals move forward in their career and leaders and organizations navigate any kind of transformational growth or disruption. I do that in my coaching practice now, but one of the things I've started to do more and more of is as particularly women, but also men, if they find themselves in the fear of getting laid off situation, over 55, it's daunting to go on a job search. I know because I was there. And so helping them figure out if I'm going to work another 10 or 15 years, what do I want to be doing? How can I start planning for it? What's interesting is we plan for retirement financially. I work with a lot of financial advisors and I talk to their clients about planning for their life. And so financially, they plan for their retirement, but we don't necessarily plan for those important years between feeling like you're ready to do something different, but not ready to fully retire. That's the primary encore career time frame. Um, some people that I'm working with really are financially in a good place and maybe want to step out even earlier. Some of my clients are 50-year-old women who are now in their prime, is what they say, because they're empty nesters. Their kids have left the house and off to college, so they don't have to be anywhere for anyone else, and they can look differently at their career. And so they want to know what they should do, how can they figure out what they should transform into. So it's an exploratory and discovery process. There's some self-reflection, there's guidance in terms of the types of roles that would help create the career that you're looking for in your encore years. So there's a lot that goes into it.
It's so interesting, and I don't think I've ever really thought of it, but what you just brought up is something that I feel like most people, it's black and white. I work and then I retire. And what you really just highlighted is that sweet spot between your working career and your actual retirement, because I agree. Like, I'm almost to that 50-year mark and my kids are all adults. And so we're not quite ready to retire yet. And at the same time, my husband has been in his career for 30 years, and so it really is like, okay, we've raised the family, we've taken care of all their needs, we've done all the things, we've even helped take care of sick parents. And, so I think that what you're doing is so multifaceted. And until I heard you start talking about it, I don't think I realized it. Because not only are you helping them to really define what it is they want to do next, but also there's so much self-discovery that goes into it that maybe they've never even had time for before.
You're exactly right. We're so heads down taking care of other people and doing jobs that maybe pay the bills, but we don't love, and feeling a little bit stuck. And then all of a sudden, you have fewer responsibilities and accountabilities. You're a little bit more financially stable because you've been contributing to some kind of retirement account over the years. Whether you have a partner or not, that's an important thing. And we can talk about this later, but only 30% of women feel like they are really putting in the right amount for retirement. So that's another issue, especially in the US, where people are not quite financially ready for the cost of retirement. But it all started with listening back in like 2011, 2012 to people like Jane Fonda, who were talking about longevity. And she's the perfect example of someone who's created so many different avenues for her activism and catalyst perspectives. But you don't have to be famous to think about what are you going to do if you're going to live longer. She talked about longevity in a way that we're going to be healthier and living longer. So even 60, 65 is no longer the end of your working life. Doesn't have to be. So many people identify with the work they do or the jobs they have or the title they've been able to accomplish. And that's hard once you step away. At the end of 2019, I was senior vice president of HR. And I worked really hard to get there. And I had a wonderful career. I had people who helped me along the way, wonderful mentors and coaches. But then when I stopped being senior vice president of HR, who was I? I had worked so long for 30 years to create that career for myself while raising kids. And I had an amazing husband partner in doing that, which allowed me to flourish in my career. at the time I wanted to do something different. But if I'm not that anymore, what am I? And people associate their value with their career and what they've been able to accomplish. So not only is it self-discovery and self-reflection, but if you've spent 30 years in a corporate role or climbing the corporate ladder, once you step back from that, there's a lot of emotion that's tied up with that, especially if you're in a layoff situation. And so many people have been in the last 3 to 5 years. And so working with these clients who were executives who then all of a sudden weren't. And when the rug is pulled out from under you, there's like I said, a lot of emotion, but even psychologically, getting them ready to even figure out what they want to do next. It's all part of the coaching. I do a lot of outplacement, and that's how I started with the executives who felt as if they just didn't feel they wanted to do a job search. They never had to do a job search before. Now all of a sudden they have to. So, and having been in the exact situation, I could understand. I was very compassionate and empathetic. I knew what they were going through. And that was how the whole notion of Encore Career started. There's also a great book called The 100-Year Life, and written by Linda Gratton, who is a London Business School professor that I happen to be associated with. I was running some programs in a corporate environment with the London Business School and had worked closely with her. She and Andrew Scott wrote this book. And again, it dawned on me. So first Jane Fonda in my head and thinking about that we're all living longer. Then Linda talking about how we need to redefine retirement because people are living longer. You no longer have to stop working, or you can reinvent yourself multiple times over your years. And again, this was just more of the inspiration, if you will, for my coaching around Encore Career. I still do corporate coaching. I love helping leaders be effective and helping organizations transform. That's part of my coaching and consulting. But the passion for helping people navigate to their Encore Career has become something I'm just so personally connected to.
Hmm. And I love that it's a passion for you. It's not just a job. And so, as I'm listening to everything that you're saying, I'm thinking about the generations, right? Because our grandparents and even our parents went, they got out of high school or they got out of college, they started with a corporation, and then they worked there until they got their gold watch, and then they retired, and that was that. And as you were talking about reinventing yourself and pivoting and all the things, I've done that several times, right? And so generationally, I think that the younger generations don't feel like they have to stay in a career, pick one and that's it, you're there. And so it is us, Generation X, who are maybe the last generation who graduated and then jumped into a corporation or a business, and that's just it. I think after us, no, they're happy to just jump around and go where the wind blows. But I think you've really hit a sweet spot here generationally of the transition from this mindset of stick it and forget it into there is life outside of these four corporate walls.
There is. And so many options and opportunities once you open up, take maybe the blinders off of what you've only, been trained to see. The truth is like for Americans in general, there's 10,000 Americans turning 60 every day. So talk about the baby boomers, yes, the Gen Xers,
Yeah.
yes, it's amazing to think about the volume of people who are potentially able to enter their Encore Career right now and do things that are more meaningful. And it's so funny when you talk about the younger generation blowing in the wind. See, I look at it as they're taking control and feel empowered to design the career they want by identifying multiple experiences that will help them make them feel more fulfilled. which is exactly what creating your encore career is. So we have to kind of break that notion of it's only for younger people. And when you are reaching retirement age or 50, 55, you have so much life experience and you're smarter than you were when you were in your late 20s. So from a career perspective, there's even more opportunity to create a plan for an encore career that would really do something more meaningful, but by design. And how empowering that feels, especially if you've been in a layoff situation or you've been in a role that you just, avoid those Monday morning blues kind of thing, right? You don't love what you're doing. So why not think about doing something different? It's not just for younger people. It's for people of any age. In fact, the Creating Your Encore Career book is a guide written for people who are approaching retirement age, questioning what they want to do next. But frankly, the career guidance that I provide in there is useful for anyone who's looking to make any kind of pivot or transition in their career. It's basically coaching in a book. And I really
So
wanted it to
glad.
be that
Oh,
way.
so
Oh,
sorry.
sorry. So no,
Um,
I really wanted it to be a self-guide, self-help.
yeah, and I'm so glad you brought up your book because that's a question that I had was I almost feel like, yeah, it's great for people maybe coming to the end of their career and starting their encore career. And I'm wondering if it would be a great gift to give to somebody who's just starting out in their career to say, hey, keep this in mind. Remember that you are the designer of your own map.
True. That's true. In hindsight, maybe I should have written it differently, but not focused on the encore career. But I really wanted the people who are really, closer to that 55, wanting to do something different and having them feel empowered to do so, because probably never a time in their life when they really felt that way. But you're absolutely right. I mean, it's an amazing gift for anyone who's thinking about a transition in their career. Job search today is so different, right? The technology driven recruiting environment. So for people who haven't been in job search for the last 8 to 10 years, they don't know how to shape their resume or LinkedIn profile to be noticed. Again, this is from a corporate perspective, but if you are working in a small business or a medium-sized business, uh, there's ways to build your network and get to know people. Even if you want to work remotely, there's ways to network remotely. So the book really talks about today. I was reading a book about Encore Career. It was written in 2010, 2011. And another inspiration for me writing my book was the fact that the author provided great recommendations, but the comments were, this is really useful, but it's outdated. It had nothing about technology and how you search for a job in our technology driven recruiting environment. It had virtually nothing about experiencing a layoff scenario. It really didn't talk as much as I do about how important the financial aspect is and feeling like you're able to move into something different. Depending on companies don't have pensions anymore unless you're a teacher or a government worker. And then with 401k savings and the ups and downs of the market, people's retirement savings are so volatile. So that book had very little to do with anything in today's world. So again, another inspiration for me as I'm coaching. Every one of my clients was like, you should write a book. We need more advice, and not everybody can afford or have the benefit of a coach. So it just tugged at me long enough to say, okay, I'm going to make this available. And Pascal, it's 99 cents right now to download the ebook from Amazon. I'm not kidding about wanting to make it completely accessible. The price will go up in January, but right now It launched in July, and for 6 months, it's 99 cents. Anyone can get a hold of it. It's a step-by-step guide, and I love hearing from people who have read it. One woman wrote me and said, not only did I read it, but I bought it for 5 of my friends because we are all 55. We were all talking the other night at our girls' night out about how we're just kind of burnt out in our jobs and ready to do something completely different, but we don't know where to start. So we're starting a book club using your book. And I just loved that. How
Right?
inspiring, right? And I was like, well, let me know when you meet, and I'd love to come and, join the conversation because that's who I'm trying to reach.
That is so cool. And excuse me, I'm sorry. That's what I was going to say. And the gift giving holidays are coming up. For me, it's Christmas. And so on Amazon, 99-cent ebook. Can you just go ahead and tell everybody the title? And that way we can all just jot it down and search up Amazon as we're listening.
Yeah, it's called Creating Your Encore Career, a guide to prosperity and purpose in your third act. And going back to what we said about redefining retirement, it's called your third act because it used to be education, work, full retirement, right? But now there's this bubble of time that is education, your primary career, your encore career is your third act before full retirement. And again, people are living longer. So, the traditional retirement starts often between 60 and 65, depending on what country you live in. But many countries around the world are already saying, we're going to start increasing the age at which you can take your full retirement, right? So I believe in the UK, for example, is similar to the US, where you can take early retirement at 60, but you don't get your full benefit. Countries are moving to 65 or 68, where you can take your full retirement. But it used to be in some countries, 60 was you can take your full retirement. But that's also because people really only lived till their early 70s back in the day. But with medical advancements, our lifestyles, I don't know about you, but I'm turning 60 in a few weeks. I feel more energetic than ever before. And part of that is the kids are gone. I no longer am taking care of aging parents. Unfortunately, my dad passed away, and my brother, I'm so lucky. My brother is taking care of my mother, and I don't have to worry about it. And my kids are adults. I'm going to be a grandma.
It's so crazy, isn't it? It's like a
I
blink.
know.
First of all, you do not look like you're about to turn 60. I feel like you and I are the same age, and I'm going to be 50 pretty soon. I definitely think you at least look my age or maybe even younger. I do feel like, and this is what I love to talk to women about, is this place of, we call it empty nest. It happens even before the kids leave. You just start to realize they're more independent. You're not in charge of carpool anymore. You don't have to volunteer in the classroom anymore. Or I say have to. I loved it, right? But all of those things kept us so busy and outwardly focused. And so now it's time to turn our gaze inward. And for some people, it's sweet relief. And for other people, it's terrifying.
Yeah, it's so funny you say that because, we talked about the corporate roles and identifying yourself with whatever your job title was. But for some women who really do put their whole self into raising their children, and then they no longer feel like they need them as much. You're right, the volunteerism in the classroom is no longer as available. What do you do now? How can you continue a purposeful, meaningful life that aligns with your values, contributes to society in some way, but also provides you with some flexibility to enjoy life? I play golf, I play tennis, I play pickleball, and I do yoga. And I do that in addition to working and I'm not working full time anymore. So you also, in your encore career, you want some flexibility. You can design that into your plan if that's important to you. Some people, this one, do you mind if I give an example?
I love it.
One of my
Please.
clients, I just loved it. She was 60, she is 62, retired from corporate as a global director. Used to, I mean, her children are adults for a long time. She's a grandma, but used to travel all over the world and had a leadership role that really brought her joy and meaningfulness. And then a lot of company changes, a lot of restructuring, reorganizing, and expectations were different. She's like, now's a good time for me to step out. So she voluntarily left her job, but so energetic. So like, you would never know she was the age that she was, and wanted to go back to something that she was passionate about when she was younger. So she climbed this corporate ladder in this medical oriented and device oriented company. But what she really loved was the laboratory work. What she really loved was making a difference for the people who actually worked in the laboratories and helping them with efficiency, effectiveness, maybe doing some consulting for laboratory setup organizations. And she's like, oh, that's not a job. I was like, well, let's see if it is a job, and if it's a job with some flexibility. And it is. It actually is a job. And so again, removing the blinders and removing maybe some of those self-limiting beliefs, or the stories that we tell ourselves, really allows you to explore and discover what is possible. And in today's environment, again, with the technology platforms that are available, there are job boards that are fully for remote jobs. There are job boards that are fully for part-time jobs or flex jobs. There's even platforms where, if you are one of my other clients who is a graphic designer, didn't want to continue to work full time in the role that she was in, which moved more towards user experience and technology, wanted to get back into either graphic design or photography. She had a master's in fine arts. So she wanted to go back to what was passionate when she was younger. And so that's what she did. And when you list yourself on some of these platforms as a freelancer, you immediately start getting clients.
Yeah.
So generating that as a small business. And she never thought that was possible. And now she's starting to focus more on real estate photography, and her business is flourishing. But she never would have actually thought about that as, an encore career.
Yeah, so beautiful. So good to hear. And for your client who wanted to be back in the lab, and well, let's see if it is a job. If it's not, heck, maybe you create one, right? Maybe, that example or something different. If it's not already a quote unquote job, what about creating it? Because you see a need that isn't being met. And so you're able to pull this idea together and approach companies about it and say, listen,
exactly right.
This is what I see is the missing link here. And you create that for yourself. And that's amazing, because, something you said back in the very beginning is that so many people put their value on their title. They really self-identify with the title that they are given or have earned, and that's great until you're not living the title anymore. And so it's so important along the way to really start self-identifying early on. So all your eggs aren't in one basket.
That's so true. You can start planning when you're 40 for your encore career. And actually, and I talk about this in the book, building your professional network so that when you do decide, and you are empowered to decide what you want to do in your encore career, you have already built a network of people you can tap into.
Yeah.
So when you are thinking about what you could be doing, either freelancing, consulting, gig work, a lot of larger companies are now considering contingent workers as part of their talent strategy because they don't need someone full time, but they would like to have a list of consultants or suppliers or vendors they can call upon when they need it in order to grow their business. And that's corporate, but that's also small, medium-sized businesses. And thinking about that, you're absolutely right. How can you do something adjacent to what you used to do because you have a level of expertise in it, but do it in a gig way or a consulting way or a freelancing way that adds value to another company and also whoever you want to serve, whoever you're feeling like I want to do something meaningful for somebody else. So another one of my clients, she went through the process with her parents of the challenges of navigating Medicare and healthcare while they were in their 70s and 80s. And she realized not everybody has someone who can help them navigate that. And so now she has created for her friends, family, and additional clients now as a consultant or freelancer, support for helping people to navigate those challenges that she personally went through and feels so strongly that she can help people. Another woman was a professional organizer, and that's what she did for a living. So she was pretty much always a professional organizer, but that work is hard and it's laborious. So when she decided she wanted to step back and maybe do something more meaningful, what she found was that helping older people leave their homes and moving into either the independent living or assisted living and helping them kind of, get rid of, which sounds horrible, all the things that they've accumulated over their life that their kids didn't want anymore, or that there was just no room for when you're moving from a house to a 1-bedroom in an independent living or a 2-bedroom even. So she decided to focus her encore career, move from being a professional organizer into this very niche market. And there's no shortage of clients. And you're partnering. So she has partnered with independent living organizations and assisted living organizations so that people who are coming in for the tour and they say, if you need someone to help you prepare for that move, here's our recommendation. So she has this natural lead generator.
Genius.
Right?
Genius. And that's a really good point is, okay, now I found my passion. How do I make it lucrative? And really, you've touched on, yes, your network that you already have, but here's a whole nother topic of who are coordinating industries that, we can support each other. And this is a really great example. So who can you support and in return will support you?
Yes. And it's related to what's meaningful to you and really purposeful.
Exactly.
And you feel like you're contributing and also supplementing so that you don't have to touch your retirement. The longer you wait, the more you'll get. And so if you can really just do something in your encore career that helps now, pay the bills and you don't have to touch that retirement, it puts you in a better position later on. Because I mentioned the retirement insecurity that's pervasive, especially in the US. Only 20% of adults age 50 and over have no retirement savings at all, which is good. That means 80% are doing something. But it's highly likely if you've worked at a company that has a 401k savings vehicle, you're probably in a position to put something in there. And of course, there's the match that companies offer in 401k. But if you've never worked in that type of environment, if you work for a small business or a medium-sized business, oftentimes they don't have retirement savings vehicles. And so either you're not in a financial position to save, or you don't have something or organization that's encouraging you to do that, it puts you in a precarious position if you're just starting to save for retirement when you hit 40, for example.
Yeah.
And so it's like it's planning for retirement and planning for your encore career financially, but also what are your passions, right? So it's a nice balance.
Yeah. And the fact of the matter is, it goes by in a blink. Like when you're in your 20s, you think, oh, I have all the time in the world to save. And all of a sudden, you're 45, coming up on 50. Now you're coming up on 60. And you're like, what happened? Where did the time go?
Yeah.
And so that's the importance of the awareness early on. So
And so to build on that too, and you think about those people, they're going to live till 90 or 100.
Yeah.
That's kind of mind-boggling, because our parents lived in their 70s. Our parents, God willing, are living well into their 80s,
Yeah.
right? And we will too. So if you stop working at 60, number one, what are you going to do for all that time? There's only so many puzzles you can put together. Pascal, I belong to a couple Facebook groups that I recently joined that are like cool retired women or over 50 solo travelers. And it's so much fun to listen and hear their stories and things. But sadly, so many of the women in the cool and retired women's group are saying, well, I retired at 62 because I thought I was ready to, but I'm 65 now and I'm so completely bored. What should I do? And so people are unretiring.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the visual that I got as I was just listening to that is, I'm supposed to retire at 62. So I do. I've worked hard all these years. Then I retire. There's only so many puzzles I can do. Now what? I got this visualization of you're in a car and you're driving along at 65 miles an hour. And then all of a sudden you come to an abrupt stop, like you're in an accident. And that is not good for your body, right? And so that was the analogy, I guess, is in your career, you're traveling along at 65 miles an hour. You come to an abrupt stop, like you hit the brick wall, and that's really bad for you because it's not what I'm used to. Now, who am I? What do I do with my time? It might be exciting in the beginning because now we can travel and we can do all the things. Are you going to blow through all your savings? And now what? Right. So it does feel like, coming to a nice, easy stop versus a sudden brick wall stop.
I'll tell you another story. This woman called and said, I don't have to work, but I need to do something from the hours of 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. because now that I'm retired, my daughter thinks I am only just waiting around for her to call and ask me to babysit.
Yep.
And as much as I love my grandkids, that's not what I want to do every day. But unless I'm doing something else, I have a hard time saying no to her.
Yeah.
I love the conversation.
Such a good conversation. And then have her call me because I will coach her on the art of no, of saying no.
That's so great.
But I totally understand it. And to not feel productive is a slippery slope to depression.
Yes. Oh my gosh. There's so much social connection also to working and having social connections that align with your personal values, passions, and all that. So being a part of something in the community doesn't necessarily have to be a paying job either. She said, I'm financially good, but I really want to serve. I want to have an impact. I want to support something in a meaningful way. Can you help me figure out what that is? Of course. Absolutely.
I love that.
Absolutely. This pivot into something that was different for her wasn't financially driven. It was passion driven. And because she's an early riser, so she wanted to work at 6 a.m. There's not that many people who do, but she also wanted to be done by 2 so she could pick up her grandkids at school. And so it's a nice way of offering her support and services to her daughter while also she was doing something that was really meaningful to her.
Yeah.
Everybody's journey is unique, and the guidance, and I provide this in the book, but I also provide it in my coaching. It's like, what do you want to do? What are you really good at? What do people seek you out for? That kind of is a natural passion of yours. It's a little of the ikigai, right? It's what type of environment will you thrive in? And what are you passionate about that you want to support? Could be working for the American Cancer Society or as a volunteer if you don't need the work. But there are so many organizations, children with diabetes, or there's so many local organizations that could benefit from the really smart, energetic, type of person who still has a lot to offer.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. Michelle, I think you've given us so much to think about. I love what you're doing. I love that you're helping people be forward thinking and, realizing that it's not black or white. There is that sweet spot where you can create anything you want to create. You can do whatever you want to do. So, how can people get a hold of you, first of all? What's the best way to reach you?
Um, I'm on LinkedIn, and my email address and phone number out there, so people can reach out to me on LinkedIn. I really am not on any other social media, but um, the like I said, the book is on Amazon, so if people want to really take the time to go through it, and then if they still need more help, they can call or email me, Michelle at Emprints Consulting. It's really about helping people embrace the attributes that make them extraordinary and really reflect on the things that they can still bring to society. I just want to kind of close with that message, because it's there's so many people out there who are in this feeling a bit of a victim of their circumstance, and I really want them to know that they are not. They're not stuck. They feel stuck, but there's opportunity to move and make changes and feel empowered. And that's really the message I wanted to leave with.
So beautiful, so beautiful. And one more time, now through the end of the year for ourselves and our gift giving purposes, can you give the title of your book on Amazon one more time?
Yes, I should know it by heart now. It's called Creating Your Encore Career. So you can find it on Amazon. It's a #1 bestseller in career guides, actually.
Oh,
The subtext is a guide to prosperity and purpose in your third act. But it really is a great career guide for anyone who's in any stage of transition or transformation in their career. So thank you.
Michelle, thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing your wisdom and your heart. And I can't wait to get my hands on my own copy.
Thank you.
Dr. Michelle relayed the powerful notion that life doesn't have to be a stark shift from work to retirement, but can instead be an evolving continuation of meaningful contribution. Here are three key takeaways from our conversation. First, there's empowerment to be found in creating an encore career pivoting toward your passions. Second, self discovery is crucial for a fulfilling encore career that leverages life experiences and nurtures personal growth. And third, opportunities become even more abundant when you blend flexibility and purpose. As you consider the next phase of your journey, what passions or interests from your past might you like to revisit or integrate into your encore career? Remember, when you step into your encore career, your third act, with confidence and clarity, new paths of meaning and purpose unfold. As always, thank you for spending time with me. And remember, life doesn't come with a roadmap, So let Women Finding Clarity be your compass, where clarity, confidence, and joy are always within reach. Good night.